Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. In today's video, I thought we could take a look at the Into the Void patch notes for the November release. It seems this will begin for all regions at 5 AM PT, 1 PM UTC on November 18th, which is tomorrow. Expected downtime is 4 hours. And guys, it is a big one. I won't even attempt to read it all, or I will definitely put you to sleep. So let's just go through it quickly, looking at some of the bigger issues and changes they addressed. So the first big thing is the Void Gauntlet. The Void Gauntlet has manifested in Aeternum. Manipulate the powers of the Void to support your allies and debilitate your enemies with this magical damage support hybrid weapon. It's the first weapon to scale on both intelligence and focus, making it a great pairing with the Life Staff and other magical weapons. This weapon really is amazing. I was playing around with it on the PTR and it really reminds me of a cross between a Shadow Priest and a Warlock in World of Warcraft. The mana regen alone would make this a worth using off weapon if nothing else. Really looking forward to this one. Next up, they're adding some new enemies for us to face. The Varangian. They are led by Commander Atalas, a Gaul with a reputation for brutality and twisted sense of humor. Commander Atalas and the Varangians are vassals to a powerful lord named Varric, the Hammer, Iznov. They have been sent to southeastern Aeternum in search of magical artifacts and arcane lore left behind by the Crimson Sorcerer. Their goal is to secure magical weapons that will help their lord in his conquests. The Varangians are fiercely competitive and will vie with one another to curry favor with Lord Commander Atalas. Seems these guys will add some interesting flavor and lore to the story, but I think these are more of a low to mid-level centered thing at the moment. Although, I may be wrong, just from what I saw in PTR it seemed that way. In any event, they seem pretty cool. They made some huge changes to the world experience. They of course tweaked some visual and sound stuff around farms and starter areas. But the big thing is the speed increase on the paths. This is going to be probably my favorite thing from this update, I'm not gonna lie. The ability to run faster on roads is pretty amazing. Movement speed bonus of 10% while traveling on roads. The move speed bonus will not trigger unless the player has been running for 3 seconds, and they are on a road. The movement bonus will be cancelled if a player engages in combat in any way such as dodging, blocking, attacking, or being hit with a debuff. And of course, this bonus won't be applied to outpost rush, wars, and duels, obviously. Another pretty awesome change is to flagging. They added a plus 10% luck bonus and a 30% gathering luck bonus to flag players for PvP. This will probably really encourage some to flag, especially those hunting void ore and trophy loot from chests. They are also making changes to the PvP faction quests for farming tokens, so keep that in mind. I think some people may find it a bit more difficult now to just grind out tokens like before, when it's going to require them to maybe kill a player now. They are also attempting to spice up the main story questline, making a bunch of changes to it. So guys, if you are midway through, be aware it may reset certain parts of it you may be in the middle of right now. Just wanted you to be aware so you don't end up lost. And then there are some more notable bug fixes they worked on in response to the forums. Starting zone faction missions have been updated so early players will not be given missions to hunt sheep. Faction rank 2 quests are now offered at level 20, but are still recommended for level 25 players. Return to the Innkeep quests now reward the proper amount of Azoth. Map pins were updated for hunt missions in Elder's Gate to be more accurate. 2 elite faction assassination missions in Brightwood target elite enemies that only spawn at night. We've updated the quest text to specify this requirement. Various text fixes for typos, moving of quest locations, and reinforcement of story. Revised naming conventions for town projects to better distinguish them from faction missions. Fixed expedition loot PvE faction mission within the Garden of Genesis. Fixed a mismatch in the text requirement and actual requirement for the To Be a Grandmaster fishing quest, because as we all know, this quest says that you have to be level 100 to complete it, but you actually have to be level 101. Fixed an issue with PvP spy missions not being completed in non-settled zones. Added voiceover fixes for multiple NPCs. Fixed various issues causing NPCs to not complete their animations. Fixed various issues causing incorrect loot tags to display. This is probably one of my #1 pet peeves. I hope this is fixed. They have made huge changes to combat in almost every aspect. They have finally fixed the bug allowing people to stack food buffs, so no more going into PvP, eating every type of ration and every type of gather food for 5 buffs. They also gave perks a huge once-over, buffing a bunch. The ones that were most affected increased scaling of leeching perks on rings and weapons from a range of 0.5 to 1.5, damage converted to health on hit to a range of 1% to 5% respectively. Increased the efficiency of the Freedom, Vigor, and Vigor 8 debuff reduction perks from a range of 3% to 5% based on gear score to a range of 3% to 8%. Decrease the cooldown of the Keen Speed perk, which grants haste on critical hits, from 10 seconds to 5 seconds, and increase the haste duration from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. They increase the poisoning, bloodletting, burning, crippling, enfeebling, and infected effect duration on rings from a range of 3% to 7% to a range of 5% to 15% respectively. They gave light and medium equipment loads a big buff for healing. Seems they are really trying to break the paladin type build and give pure healers more of a place. There is a huge list of navigation fixes if you're having any issues with your character doing weird animations or getting stuck skinning or something. Give this a read through, maybe your issue is fixed. You can no longer gather while in a duel. I guess people were exploiting using duels to gather without taking any damage interrupting them. They did some tweaking to character dodging, fixed an issue causing two-hand melee and magic staff dodge rolls to have a smaller invulnerability window than the other weapon types, fixed inconsistent cancel timings between dodge of different weapon types, fixed a bug which could cause a backwards dodge to result in a small teleport, fixed an issue that caused players to not take damage from an AoE if they dodged into the affected area, made some big changes to outpost rush buffs, reduced the power of Battle Bread from 15% damage and defense to 5% damage and defense, reduced the damage reduction on the Baroness buff from 25% to 15%, reduced the damage and defense on the Commander Tent from 5%, 7.5%, and 15% to 3%, 6%, and 9%. The changes they made to weapons are many and in some cases huge, so I will just summarize each weapon, and if this weapon is the one you use, you should look into exactly what's changed, but it is way too much for me to read here. The Warhammer, of course, got the buff that it so deeply needed. The Life Staff, sorta buffed in some places, nerfed in others, mostly just changed to suit this new narrative. The Hatchet, it has been buffed, but mostly in regards to being thrown. The Great Axe, it was changed. Hard to say if it is a buff or a nerf. We will have to see after it's live, but it's definitely changed. The Bow, it received a small buff, I suppose. The Sword, it got some pretty solid buffs. The Fire Staff, couple of small buffs to individual spells, but this overall is a big nerf because of all the passives pretty much getting nerfed. The Spear, it got a pretty solid buff to every aspect of it. The Ice Gauntlet, again same as the Fire Staff, a few abilities got buffed, so it seems great, but the huge nerfs to the passives I think makes this an overall nerf. The Rapier, much like the Great Hammer, got the much needed buffs that it needed to almost every aspect of it. The Musket, it got a lot of buffs. It's going to feel a lot more boom now. They also made a bunch of changes to the NPCs. They added a bunch of new lost enemies, the Withered Swarm Mancer, the Withered Beetle, the Lost Shaman, the Lost Alligator, the Ancient Guardian, the Skeletal Mage, and there was an update to the Corrupted Villagers. The Strong Corrupted Laborer has put down his pickaxe and picked up some weights, now looking larger than ever. Villagers have gotten their attack sets reviewed and reworked to better differentiate them. They made a ton of AI fixes and AI tunings. This is a crazy long list, and probably not things that you would notice a lot of the time, but again, if there is something you are interested in, more than likely it has been addressed here because it seems they touched on just about every aspect of the AI here. Economy and progression and loot. Here's the part we have all been dreading and anticipating. The faction change cooldown has been reduced to 60 days down from 120 days. They reduced the weight of repair kits because that was important, I guess. They added a new item, a chunk of consecrated iron, to the top rank of the faction shop for all factions. This item is used to craft the resilient perk for armor items. This is a big one. Now we can craft our own gear with a guaranteed resilient perk. And of course, the trade markets will now be linked after this patch. Reduced territory standing gains from cooking, as they were a bit more generous when compared to similar efforts put into other crafting trade skills. Can't say I'm surprised by this change really. They increased the XP requirements for progressing through crafting and trade skills. This was the one that everyone has been afraid of, and it has finally come. Once players unlock a new tier of recipes, the XP requirements to continue progressing by just crafting things at the previous tier will be significantly diminished. However, it should still take the same amount of effort to progress the crafting skill. If you craft items in the highest tier, you are capable of crafting. Now I know, a lot of people have been saying it is going to be much worse, but I think we should wait and see. I have a real feeling it isn't going to feel nearly as bad because of the huge XP increase to the higher level items. So they say they have finally fixed the tier 4 rare resources from crafting nodes. Kinda late on this one, guys, now that no one needs them, but at least it's fixed for the new players. They added a bunch of new loot to the loot table from world drops, including a set of weapons designed by the participants of the Battle for New World event. These weapons are tier 5 and capable of being legendary if they roll a gear score of 600. Thought this was kind of a cool addition. Then of course there's another wall of text, bug fixes relating to crafting bugs people have reported on the forums being fixed. So guys, this was a big one. Let's hope for God's sake this one deploys smoothly, because we had the PTR this time. I can't take any more disabled market or other game breaking stuff right now. I want to let everyone know I'm going to be going through the new trade skill changes and updating my guides as necessary, so keep on a lookout for that. So guys, I'll let yous all go. Thanks for watching, good luck to us all tomorrow morning, and I'll see you in the next one.